Hi there. Bet you can't guess who today's episode is about.
Everything is 20% cooler, including you.
That's right. Well, remove the Batman comic back there and you will see. Turn around.
But, yay.
Take it down.
Oh, there's Rainbow Dash right there.
That is right. A Rainbow Dash video. I said episode, I meant video, but I'm too cool to apologize. So, alright, the top 5 Rainbow Dash episodes. And Rainbow Dash is my personal favorite of the main 6. And, yeah, because of that, she has so many great episodes on my card that she doesn't even need any of the episodes she shares with anyone else. I am able to fill up a top 5 Rainbow Dash list with great episodes, and all the other ponies can have the episodes they shared with her on their great list. She doesn't need their help.
Oh.
But,
Really?
really?
Okay.
Actually, seriously, okay, I'm gonna get rid of these now. But, anyway, yeah, there were a couple of episodes that would have made this list if I decided to include, like, Fall Weather Friends, for example.
Oh, yeah, but you had the...
Applejack list, so I don't like repeating episodes too much, and, I'm going to have to a couple of times, because I think that a couple of the main 6 are really gonna need it on my card, but, yeah. Rainbow Dash is not one of them, though. She... for the first, well, heck, up until, well, heck, even in Season 7, really, she always manages to get at least one great episode, and up until Season 4, it seemed like just about she could do no wrong. She had a really high batting average on my card. I think Daring Don't was the first one where I was like, for Rainbow Dash, that was, and I don't count Rainbow Falls, though. Rainbow Falls was good. But, yeah. But actually, even in Season 4, Rainbow Dash was one of the harder hitters, so what can I say? She's done well on my card. So, would you like to start, or should I?
You go, it's your favorite.
Alright. In 5th place, I have Tanks for the Memories.
Aw,
And,
that's a great episode, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, Cindy Morrow was always, I guess, an up and down sort of writer on my card, but, yeah, I felt like for... this is one of those episodes, actually, just like the first half of it was, yeah, perfect Rainbow Dash episode, everything you could want. She's, yeah, as always, caught up in being Rainbow Dash, all the great stuff she's gonna get to do with her tortoise, who she doesn't want anyone to know that she, loves, like, a third arm or something like that.
Like
But,
you love any pets, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody kind of loves their pets, but, well, on the show we get to see how, yeah, they're close and whatnot, and Spike does not count as a pet for the record, but, but yeah, like, Rainbow Dash, they kind of hinted, like, even though she tried to play it off, like, Tank, trying to snuggle her every time she gets close, kind of like, yeah, what their relationship is like when nobody's looking is probably a lot
so
different
cute.
yeah, and then she's trying to sneak nose rubs in, like, I mean, yeah, it's almost like Tank is the vessel for all the, yeah, feels, all the love and affection Rainbow Dash conceals when she's around the other ponies.
Almost like us, without camera.
Well, no, not quite, because... But yeah, just like all the gags, I love the, Rainbow... I mean, meme faces usually... get a bad reaction out of me. That comes across like, yeah, blatant pandering, just, hey, we know this is what's trending, but they pulled it off here with Rainbow Dash, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rainbow Dash, she's a character with a big enough personality and enough charisma to make that a good punchline, and, yeah. Do I look angry to you?
Maybe just a little.
But yeah, the Who's On First reference, though, just love the gags this thing was doing, love, Rainbow Dash, just, yeah. Well, actually, a lot of people point out her trying to go into denial on Tank, needing to hibernate, and, how, well, you can. I mean, people keep wanting everyone to say 5 stages of grief with this
Yeah.
episode, which that's
Yeah.
not actually an official diagnosis. But I mean,
but still,
no, it could apply. But I
yeah,
mean, it's like I was just more caught
fitting.
up with the denial part with how that was so relatable. Because what you see people do, like, oh wait, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, well. I've got to clearly I've got to look through 100 different explanations until
Yeah.
I find the one that means everything's gonna
Be alright.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's in 5th because it does sort of trail off in that second half with the factory and the hijinks.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's more of an A- on my card. I mean, admittedly, it wouldn't be on here if I did let Rainbow Dash use her team-up episodes, but
I also think like she gets off too easily breaking the
I've
whole
heard that
factory
argument
and stuff
to the
like
time,
that.
but I mean, like, it's really not that kind of an episode. Like, have
No,
you
I know.
considered the serious ramifications?
yeah.
It's more like a.
And the seriousness is in the moral itself, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, the relationship with Rainbow Dash and her pet is serious on some level, though. They do kind of, like, at the end where they make fun of Rainbow Dash a little bit, where she's, like, kicking her feet and, crying. But I mean...
But she thinks the tank is going to die, so...
Well, she's not going to be able to see him for a while, but I mean, like, they do... Like, it's like they
So cute.
acknowledge that it means that much to Rainbow Dash, but they still, like, look at it from the outside looking in, like, okay, this is a pony crying over not being able to snuggle her pet for a few months. I mean, it clearly, like, having fun with the fact that it means a lot more to her than it can mean to anyone else. It's one of those ones, like, testing, 1, 2, 3, or, like, there are a lot of episodes that go, like, the action is over the top, the circumstances, the conflict, it's over the top, it's whimsical, it's silly, just the emotions behind it is not. Behind all of them are not, so that's why, at least I thought that, Rainbow Dash should have gotten more of a lecture. I mean, actually, my problem with that is more like that should have been more than just a complete filler portion. I mean, I don't think Rainbow Dash should have gotten a serious lecture. I think the whole thing should have been scrapped for something that just did more than just like, that passes the time.
Yeah.
That's all it was
it's
meant to
great.
do. But, okay, so... Why don't you take your turn while I turn off my phone before it does that again?
Okay. My number 5 is Top Bolt. So then I guess it can count for where they're like together with other ponies. I really like just the flow of Rainbow Dash and Twilight, and the way that they're like talking to the other ones and stuff like that. But I do like the couple really much as well. Like, they're doing a great job, and I almost like feel really good for the way that they portray this. Like, she helped him, and he didn't notice, and he has this big ego, and he needs to be taken down a notch and stuff like that. And welcome back. But I guess I also really like the moral of this one,
I mean, well, I like the moral. I really like Vapor Trail in this episode.
Yeah,
I thought
that was his name, sorry, or her name.
I mean, I think people made kind of a Fluttershy comparison, but like, this is, well, I guess it's like, she's not so much shy. I mean, she's introverted. She's not so much shy as she is just someone with kind of a type C personality, just the helper, the someone who really wants to be there for her friends and for, and I mean, heck, even with most other ponies in the show, she seems like she tries to appease them a lot. Like, that's her go-to approach. And I mean, I really like that. I mean, I really admire that in people. I think that's a great quality. Heck, I think that's the approach I go myself a lot. I do really appreciate a moral than just like, okay, well, I mean, that's a very admirable thing, but it's like, okay, to make sure you're not hurting yourself in the process, like where it becomes a weakness, don't forget that your own needs matter too. And I thought they did that really I liked how they did that all the way across. And thank goodness that's about the main strand though, because I thought that was just about the only thing they nailed in this episode.
like the chemistry between the pair as well. Yeah.
I feel like everything that's good about that is because of her too. It's like, okay, yeah, they have this.
It's not true because he's doing a good job as well. He's just need to be taken down a peg.
Well, like in that sense, okay, everything we see, everything that's presumably good about him is, or enjoyable about him is, yeah, sort of from the fact that he, I guess, appreciates Vapor Trail, that, okay, he apparently has stuck with her all this time. He says he never does anything without her, so, it's kind of like through her that all the reasons to like him come out. On his own, he is this total caricature of a narcissist that just, like, every time he's on, even when there like should be a different reaction from him, it's the definition of a one-note character. You see, that's because I'm awesome. You just messed everything up and you should really be worried that you're going to fail the test, but you're not. Well, that's because I'm awesome. So, hey, you're pretty cocky there. Well, that's because I'm awesome.
Because everything is awesome. Everything is awesome.
Sky Stinger singing that song. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool if it just comes from me.
But I also feel like Rainbow Dash really shines in this episode. Even though that she working with Twilight, I think she got to the leader role now, right? And she's learning others how to do stuff. And I really see a lot of young Rainbow Dash, or how to say that, in him.
Well, I mean, this is kind of the same thing I thought they did with Moon Dancer. Like, hey, she likes to study and not pay attention to other ponies, so she's like Twilight. No, Twilight, they went out of their way to do the full spectrum, that she was not Oscar the Grouch, she was not comically exaggerated. This ridiculous friend-making would just, no, she was just plain and simply someone who considered studying that important. She still would try to work with other characters when she had to, in the way someone like that would, and then Moon Dancer. The last thing I need is a bunch of ridiculous friend-making, and Sky Stinger too. It's,
That's great.
Well, I mean, we don't see him when he's insecure. We don't see him when he's worried that he might lose. We don't see him when one of his friends is being picked on, or when he has to come to someone's defense. It's the whole time.
Yeah, it's the whole time.
Gee, you're cocky. I know. Shut up. I mean, he gets a little better when they take that away from him at the end. I mean, I'll admit that, and but I mean,
So number 4, before you get too heated.
Just top bullet. Well, heck, it made my top 10 of season 6. I just I mean, I guess. This is how I talk about things. Like, a lot of the time, it's like, if we agree, we agree. Yeah. So how about where we don't agree? There's a Sky Stinger guy.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll give you Rainbow and Twilight while we're at it, though, because I thought they were playing teachers. They were good. Here, but okay. 4th place, testing 1 2 3.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, heck, maybe I'm underrating this episode a bit. This is one of those great episodes. I'm like, yeah, thoroughly great, and I guess it. I don't know if it's more just because there are so many Rainbow Dash episodes I really like that. Just another great one fits right in. I mean, it didn't make it out in my top 2 or 3 of season 4 even. So yeah, I'm wondering if I'm writing it off too quickly. But I mean, if there's anywhere it might be lagging. It's in how sort of the over-the-top approach, with Rainbow Dash beating down on herself. It does start to. It can feel a little bit stilted. Okay, we get
And also with the ending, her getting full A, right?
She gets 100%. I mean, we don't know how hard this test actually is. Maybe it was just a.
She could have it
formality
tested
test
with a B or something, where you're
or a 95 or something. Just grades
she
that people actually get. I mean, I think Geez, I was a National Honor Society kid in high school. I don't remember the last time I got 100%.
Oh, no.
Except in chemistry class, because it was basically just physics class from the year before with a different name.
Ooh.
But,
impressive.
well, I mean, like, multiple people had over 100% as their final grade in that class.
Yeah,
but
I also really like testing.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, where it is great, though, like, okay, I love the way they have Rainbow Dash goofing off that while deliberately over the top, that reminds you of a lot of people with kind of their head in the clouds and just being really spacey. Twilight is really fun trying to play teacher, and instead, because it's Rainbow Dash, she ends up forced into the role of the teacher, like, ahem!
Her walking on it, sitting on the chair, being like,
Rainbow Dash can't pay attention, like, if she tried, which that's relatable to me too sometimes, like that sometimes
you don't say.
You get too much monotone while I'm trying to follow a lesson, and I'm like, alright, focus. I've just been focusing on the word focus for the last 30 seconds. What the heck? But,
well, that's a good focus.
And Rainbow Dash rocking in her chair, and then, realizing that that's something she can get into, and deciding to form a band with Spike and Aloysius.
Yeah. So cute.
Fun, and I mean, as much as they get into the different ways of learning in this episode, and they do kind of cover a full range here, I think I saw I've seen exactly one review saying they hated this episode, and it was because, apart from the fact that they just didn't seem to like Rainbow Dash that much, well, specifically I wouldn't hang out with a loser like me either, which, okay, that's an overreaction, I think, if you hate it just because of that, but they said they didn't like it because Rainbow Dash's approach wouldn't work, and it's like, okay, I will admit, Rainbow Dash's is the least easily relatable, the least easily connected to real-life situations, but it still is, though. It's like learning something inadvertently while you're doing something else, like playing an educational video game or something, or watching the Magic School Bus. Like, you think you're just following an action-adventure show, and it turns out to be you're learning all kinds of stuff. Like, so yeah, I totally love that, they have the, everybody learns differently moral, and that how Rainbow Dash is, it takes maybe something special to find it, but I mean, heck, it can be the hole in that a lot of modern education has. It just hasn't found the way to reach everybody, and heck, I felt like, I mean, well, okay, yeah, there is an extent where you have to take responsibility for your own actions and such, and I have nothing to defend here. I am the second opinion, after all. I was a straight A student every single year of my life. So, 2 years, I think, actually. But, what was it? Okay, but yeah, like, there was just points in, like, depending on how a class was taught, there were times I seemed to do just, like, exponentially better in it, depending on how easy I could get into just what the teacher or the professor was saying, and, okay. So yeah, I really like how they go through, like, what reaches, different people, and give you some ideas for what you can try, and have some fun with everybody's specific style while they're at it. I think Pinkie Pie's rap stole the show for half the crowd. That was amazing.
80s tease, I love that.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Which, I mean, I guess, I don't know if Rarity's was with the puppet show with the animals, like, that wasn't that was not a comedic highlight. I think Twilight's portion and Pinkie's are the comedic highlights, so, okay, in spite of a couple of places where, okay, maybe it could have shot this up into, like, overdrive, I think, yeah, it is a great episode, no complaints. So, go for it.
Number 4, Sonic Rainbow. Amazing episode.
Yeah.
I know that you would agree with me here. Like, because, like, we can't have a top 5 without Sonic Rainbow, because, like, that is how, you know, she got everybody together move. And, her trademark move.
Well, I guess I can play devil's advocate with you. Like, it does start to shuffle its feet a little bit, like with the Rarity portion. They throw in Rarity's conflict halfway through. They do the thing just walking through the Rainbow Factory, and
but I still think like it's Rainbow Dash that shines in the episode. Like, of course, because of the Sonic Rainbow, she's the one that saves Rarity, and I guess like Rarity needed to do all of this stuff to get Rainbow Dash to a point. Like, she's going to save her even though that she did all of this stuff. You get it? And yeah, I'm like, I really like love this because it shows how loyal she actually is to her friends. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think the focus was more on just how much Rainbow Dash was feeling small all of a sudden, not really how jealous she was of Rarity.
If you have stage fright and stuff like that, it definitely, I can see comparison to this. Luckily, I don't myself have any problems with stuff like that, but I can see like she would have, because if it's something like she did a long time ago and getting afraid that she can't do it again,
so why can't she do it again if she did it when she was a filly?
Because like maybe you know, it's almost like driving I guess a bike or something. If you forget how to, and you sit on the bike, you're going to be afraid of falling, right?
I didn't even know how she did it the first time.
Yeah. Or ice skating.
Maybe it's the weight ratio thing, like being smaller actually made it easier.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just feel like it's really good episode. And also like, I know that most people are like hating Rarity in this episode.
Some people did get mad at Rarity
I
for
see
being
why,
Rarity.
but I also like feel a little for her because like she is experienced being like beautiful and everybody's looking at her the thing that she wants, right? So yeah, I see, but she gets her comeuppance with the sun and stuff like that. So
I mean, it's always been like Rarity is vulnerable to vanity.
Yeah, and also like the scenery and the Rainbow Factory, them being shown around in Cloudsdale, and
So you can argue
and
that
the
really
bullies,
doesn't have much to do with anything, though. Adding them in there.
Yeah.
I think that was the only time we actually see them in present day, wasn't it? We see them in a few different flashbacks, but
yeah. But that's it. Your number 3?
My number 3 is Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that was, well, heck, season 6 was really trailing off there until I got this one. I think it is pretty thoroughly its best episode, and I mean, yeah, and I think Eat Your Heart Out, whatchamacallit, with the meta episode from season 7, I can't even remember it, the one where they published the journal, and
oh, yeah.
Okay, this is gonna eat me
I
up,
also like, I'm like, yeah.
But yeah, like, okay, it's gonna come to me and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, 10 minutes after the video's over, but, the one where they sing, we're not flawless, we're a work in progress. But, okay, but no, Stranger Than Fan Fiction, I think, runs rings around that episode. Like, this is how you do meta humor. It's not just somebody said this because, hey, that's kind of like what bronies say. It's, I mean, it makes sense both as a meta reference and as something that happens in the story. Like, yeah, Quibble Pants. I mean, heck, you could argue, you could feasibly make the argument that it's not a reference to the brony fan base because it works so well as just a story on its own. Like, okay, getting mad because a series that you were really into changed directions into something that seemed, at least to you, a little cheaper halfway through. That happens all over the place.
Yeah.
So
it's not only
but it also happens to bronies in this show. So I mean, like, how could it not be? I mean, even if it wasn't intended as such, it can be applied to it. And yeah, Quibble saying a lot of things that over-detailed people, such as myself, yes, will say, and not even like being that much fun to listen to. Although Rainbow Dash, like, what I love, how Rainbow and Quibble go together so well is that, okay, even when he's like that, even when they're yeah, they're over the honeymoon. They're over the first stage of just where they were having a great time together. Which, no, I would not complain, honestly, if a Patton Oswalt character shipped with Rainbow Dash. I'll take that any day over Twilight and anyone she's been shipped with in Equestria Girls.
And the Rainbow Dash pillow as well, right? Oh no, that's a Daring Do pillow.
Well, yeah, you missed your joke there, though, so I don't have to be all like, hey, no, I didn't say.
Maybe you want Daylover pillow.
Okay, maybe you could sell me on that one. Yay. But okay, what I was saying, that watching them argue is actually pretty fun too, because, okay, yeah, notice Rainbow Dash never gets mad at him because he won't shut up. She's mad because she can't convince him, and like she actually keeps listening to this. Like, yeah, he starts lecturing her after they get away from Cabaleron the first time, and then when they get to the bridge, she's still trying to think of ways to prove him wrong, and she still keeps like bringing some up, like. When he says all that, it's not, oh, get me away from this guy. It's, alright, what can I find Daring Do to really convince him?
Yeah.
But, okay. And actually, the fan pony, like the fanboy, fangirl arguing and stuff, they have a good time kind of ribbing that. Like, I think Calliope Pony pointed out the concession stand pony who's watching them when they first get into the argument.
The one with the carrots. Yeah, she's like, amazing.
Yes. And like, I've seen this 100 times before. Quibble Pants gives his whole speech about this thing he's thought out that he's totally right, and just like, without changing her expression, she just like looks to the right like, your turn. And read them and wait. But so much. I think you can see my reaction laughing out loud when Quibbles. This is actually Cabaleron. Right. This guy's accent is all over the place. No.
Yeah. He's also doing a great job, Cabaleron and the others,
And where it, I think runs circles around all the meta episodes that spice up your life, the episode I'm still not going to remember, it has like just sort of a standard, that's this one, it has a sort of a standard on the nose title, I think, I also forgot it. Whatever, but, is that, okay, all those episodes are just like somebody who kind of has a chip on their shoulder, like trying to strike back. And I mean, okay, pure venom, it can be fun and all. I mean, like there are actually some lines from that episode that's titled, I can't remember, that I really laughed at, I thought were really fun, but it's like, okay, that's it, just, it's not really a story, it's just, ha, I put that in there. This one, okay, well, it's, I mean, I don't know if I want to say this approach is inherently better, but it's used to better effect here where, okay, it's a give and take sort of an episode. This guy, he can be annoying, he can think he's smarter than he is, and just like, he can be proven wrong without, realizing ahead of time, hey, maybe I'm wrong there, so it slaps him in the face. But he also, okay, does make a lot of good points. I mean, there's all that paying attention does count for something. He's able to suggest some things that Daring Do, even though, more blurring the lines, her actual adventures versus her books, but suggests things that Daring Do maybe wouldn't have noticed right away, and I mean, that's what they say, like how editing is the heart of writing, sometimes you need to, be able to step back from your work and, read it with, like, the perspective of someone from the outside looking in, how that's going to play, not just what you meant by it, but how it actually
They could have used across. That in the other episode we don't remember the name of.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one, it's not trying to be, like I said, I feel like that's just sort of on the nose sort of a thing. I mean, M.A. Larson in an interview said he wanted to go for something a little deeper, but the staff switched it back on him. Like, no, we want to do the one that's referencing the bronies, where all the ponies are douchebags, and so we can go, ha, to the bronies, that's just like you. And,
it's not like me.
Well, the ironic thing about that episode is, like, all the people I know who are, like, really contentious and really, just anal retentive about all this stuff, like, they're the ones who like that episode. Like, those people are the ones who can appreciate pure venom, and the happy-go-lucky types, or the easygoing fanboys, fangirls, ones who are just like, oh, look at the glass half full, it's fine. They're the ones who are like, that's kind of mean-spirited, actually. I mean, heck, I mean, I'm sure there are people like that, but I just plain and simply don't like that. That comes across like someone with a chip on their shoulder. So.
There's always going to be like people like that, I guess.
Yeah. On both sides of the pen.
Yeah.
The one's reading and the one's writing. But But yeah, Stranger Than Fan Fiction, great. I guess it would be higher quibble if they didn't start to run out of ideas with him like right towards the end, so it feels like they have to just sort of repeat the same shtick, and it's like a little like, now you're wearing a little thing because it's not funny enough to completely redeem it. But I mean, yeah, that's what. Well, heck, my third best episode of my favorite character, or like without the one she shared, but. You don't get there for nothing.
No.
That's a great episode. Your turn.
Number 3, 28 Frank Slater.
Well, I did only say up to season 4.
I just like all of the references to 28 days later with the zombies and the cookies instead of brains, and like this really great moral that she learns not to prank too much. I know that she have gone through it beforehand, but I really feel like after this it's like, we had enough, and we can also like go to a place where it's like too much for you, ergo the barn scene and stuff like that. Also getting a little of other horror movies in that, but it's great.
I mean, I like the 28 Days Later references and stuff. I think that might have been the best part, just the visuals here. It's a very stylishly visual episode. Otherwise, I kind of think that this is the episode that everyone accused Mysterious Ne'er-do-well of being.
No, don't. Like, I think like Mysterious Ne'er-do-well is better, or how to say that, not... I like that as well, but I really love 28 Pranks Later.
I mean, I don't know, maybe it helps a little bit that I like, that of the two, I'm more into superhero movies than zombie movies right now, but I mean, but heck, with like the zombie thing feels more creative. I probably could have easily been sold on that more, but okay, like Rainbow Dash just comes into the episode deciding she's going to be this jerk who doesn't care about anyone's feelings, and nobody's going to tell her any different to Ne'er-do-well. They show her very clear, like when she saves the girl from the well, they actually show the progression very clearly from where, like, I mean, it's actually, it's one of the most Rainbow Dash moments I've ever seen, where, okay, she builds herself up that way, on a daily basis, like, to her friends and stuff, but then when she actually starts getting that much praise, like, she's not actually used to that. She's more keen on the idea than she actually expects it to happen, and she's blushing up until, okay, she finally does get used to it, and it does go to her head, and then you see that image where just, like, her just, like, taking it in, like, just the sheer joy of that moment is so feasible, like, just Rainbow grinning from ear to ear as everyone's like, we'd be lost without you, you're our hero, and so, okay, that's how, like, great progression to becoming narcissistic, and where she needs some friends to snap her back out of it, whereas this, she's, later, where she's supposed to be presumably more sensitive now, she scared the heck out of Fluttershy openly saying, I didn't like that, why would you do that to me? All the friends joining in, and Rainbow's like, because it's funny, like, everything goes in one ear and out the other, and the friends,
you can,
they don't do anything to make it better. They're numbskulls about how they try to set her straight on that, and it's like,
But I guess, like, you can come to a point where you are having so much fun, so you don't listen to whatever people are saying to you.
Yeah, and that's what I thought Ne'er-do-well did right.
Well, I was like, the opposite way.
And then everybody gets even more mad at the friends there. Everybody gets more mad at the friends in Ne'er-do-well, like, oh, how could you try to teach Rainbow Dash, try to influence Rainbow Dash with anything other than positivity, trying to stick it back to her and steal all her fans, and that was all they did was save the day a few times, help her save lives. How are you gonna tell me that that's something wrong? And I mean, and they didn't boast, they didn't take any credit, they let it speak for themselves. Like, if Rainbow Dash has a problem with that, if she feels upstaged by that, well then maybe she should. Maybe that, like, somebody raising the bar and being humble about it, okay, that's not like a slap in the face of, ha, you're not so great, that's perspective, that's all that is.
Maybe she needed like that, you know, the slap in the face, being like scared and being like...
Well, that's the thing about that, like, I kind of agree with the Mare-Duel complaints on 28 Pranks Later, because it's like, it doesn't feel like, a lesson attached. Like, I mean, I actually think that the moment at the end of Mare-Duel is a really, sort of delicate and, touching little moment in its own way, where they talk to her, like, where Rainbow Dash, having been seeking this just fulfillment the whole time, this fix almost, now has some friends sitting down and talking to her, and, like, I think what comes through loud and clear here is that, okay, this is where your fulfillment should come from, like, people who you do actually matter to for the right reasons. And, okay, 28 Pranks Later, it's more like just kind of counter-punching her into submission, like, ha! Back at ya! What do you think? And then Rainbow Dash, in the least Rainbow Dash moment I've ever said, like, oh, you're right, I get, you got me, and clearly I need to accept that I have been conquered. Like, okay, if lecturing her in the beginning didn't do anything, how is trying to get back in her face going to... I mean, I think that, what seems more likely for Rainbow Dash to do in that moment would have been when she's like, now I'll have to do a really great prank to get you back.
Yeah, and she does that.
Yeah, well, then she says that
it's just for fun,
kidding,
And I see like that, but I guess the difference between mine and yours is like, yours is more like fame and mine is more like fun. So like, too much fame and too much fun. Like, too much fame is bad for you, and having too much fun is bad for you. Because like we see with the pranks that escalates, there are some pranks I don't like condole with, for example, the sandwich with a stone inside and
great prank. You want to pay my dental bills?
Yeah, being rude to Cranky with the skunk and stuff like that. No, I don't think like that. That is too much. That's going over the line. But it's also important to learn children where the line is for, this. So I guess like she overcame her stuff with the fame, but her fun is still, intact. The pranking and stuff like that. Maybe it took some of the, fame space, or how to say that, and took over. I don't know.
Just compensating with that. Just her need to have fun. I mean.
But like also like this with scaring her into submission, or how to say that, it doesn't always work, but like I guess like that was the last resort. Because like I don't like that either, but it was bound to happen at one point or another.
I mean, I guess it just came across to me more like making characters more simplistic, so you could just sort of shove the episode to where you wanted it to go.
Number 2.
Alright, Number 2, May the Best Pet Win.
Yay!
The episode that actually convinced me to give this show a chance. Because at first I tried Sweet and Elite, which had topped some random blog's list of the best MLP episodes. I was like, sure, may as well figure out if there's anything to this or not. And I was like, I mean, it seems like that's exactly what you'd expect My Little Pony to be, just maybe done a little better. Yeah, or at least with a really great song sequence in the middle, but okay, Pony. And I mean, it's actually smarter than a lot of similar plots that have been done in the past in little ways, but I mean, as far as just the overall appeal of it, I was like, no thanks, okay, people who like watching pretty ponies and just need it to be done well enough, they can have it. But then May the Best Pet Win, I gave it one more chance when I got a recommendation from May the Best Pet Win instead, and I mean, that was fun in a way I wasn't used to having fun with a TV show. And I mean, just, yeah, kind of, I mean, I'm sure other directors besides Miyazaki can tap into character-driven appeal, but that's just what it reminds me of so much. Just, like, just sort of something where you sit down and you get to know just everything that's fun about a character, or you get to know them, you get to feel like you know them. And in a really outlandish and over-the-top sort of story. And, actually, maybe I would have been happier if I'd gone to Steven Universe in hindsight, because, yeah, that's...
No, don't say that.
Well, I mean, that has a lot of similar appeal now, but okay. Yeah. So we can start that debate of that flame war of two fandoms another day, but may the best pet win. I think Rainbow Dash is hilarious in that episode. I think just, like, there's so many little laughs there that are just so, yeah, on point. I mean, the Find a Pet song is fun, and like it's a great little moment of purely playing Rainbow Dash off Fluttershy.
Yeah, like, so cute with all of the different kind of animals. Yeah,
Fluttershy. How about a bunny? They're cutesy and wootsy and quick as can be. And Rainbow Dash are all her versus. I'm like, pass. And so, but yeah, I love the events, like the little competitions and such with all these animals that are trying so hard to be impressive, and yeah, and the ones who are like, yeah, bring it on, extreme competition.
Like the eagle and the bat and stuff like that. And of course the, tank as well. He tries so hard, it's so cute.
Yeah, and I kind of like how he wins too, like, not...
Like the tortoise and the hare.
Well, it's not like he wins by a technicality. He loses, but okay, what he actually does is make Rainbow Dash realize that she has a lot more to appreciate from him and then she invents an excuse for him to win. And actually, there's like, this episode is like all sides of Rainbow Dash. Like, she might actually be a little more obnoxious in this episode than I remembered the first time around, where... Yeah, telling Tank, like, seriously, you're starting to creep me out.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah. I mean, because, okay, as much as I like Rainbow Dash, you do have to emphasize that sometimes this kind of thing, it's not sympathetic. Like, people, I mean, heck, even nice people aren't always sympathetic. There comes a point where you just, like, get caught up in doing something and you can be a little bit of a jerk without thinking about it. And Rainbow Dash... more prone to that than a lot of people. She's gonna have her unsympathetic moments, but okay, then that's kind of how Tank kind of makes her remember her better nature at the end. How she starts to kind of understand him, like when he ducks away, he's scared of the picture. Easy fella. It is a lot of fun, just all the way across, and it might have come in first even if in hindsight, wasn't like, well, maybe Rainbow Dash isn't quite as much fun as she is in the, like, earlier and later portions during, I mean, she actually reminds me of someone I know who, can have sort of a ornery personality, or a garish personality, but, I mean, I don't know what you can say. It's fun all the way across. It's really creative. The dream sequences, the challenges, the friends there. So, yeah. I think it's great. Over to you.
I totally agree. My number 2 is also made of this.
Well, you can't do that now. You have to wait till you're number 1.
No, we will find out what my number 1 is, because, like, it's just like, I already had that as well, so...
Okay.
Here we go, I just out of the window. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, may the best pet win.
Yeah, and you already told a lot about it. I just also especially love the scene with where the pets are going through the challenges and this eel coming out of it and nothing being like, oh man, you're just
they don't bite unless you get too close to their nests.
Okay.
Like this.
I'm just like, okay, that's a little bit, what is that, exaggerated, but I really love it. And also parts of the choosing a pet song, the animals doing different stuff, like being like, oh, the bat can do its little scream, and
now that's a cool sound.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
The one the bat did, or whatever.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And there's also like the dog. It's so cute. It's just me.
Yeah, I think like actually the race, there's some that's a little bit rooted in actual facts. I think a duck is the well, don't quote me on this, but a duck, if not the fastest, one of the fastest straightaway flyers, but a falcon clocks in at an overall faster speed through diving.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. When they're
and granted,
hunting.
Doesn't dive to win the race, but
no,
whatever.
But
Close enough.
It's still nice, and I also like her, you know, finding out that she really wants Tank, and the reasons why and stuff like that. I really feel like she learns a lot from this episode, and I really think like she shines really good in this episode. Yeah.
Like, even just her understated little reactions, like, you come to know Rainbow Dash can be really funny. Like,
also, like, the one of the challenges is getting a mouse from Rarity's cat. Oh my god, what's his name?
Opalescence.
Opalescence, yeah. And, you know, Tank is one of the ones that actually did it.
Yeah,
Come back with the mouse and she just don't even see it.
Well, I mean, there's, like, even points where Tank is able to put up some kind of a fight, but it's just like, the Rainbow Dash still won't give him any credit off of technicalities. Like, the pulling the head into the shell, and he's actually able to pull it back out the other side. Tank is a special tortoise, but Rainbow Dash, you already did that, so no credit.
So, number one.
Number one.
See, that was my number 5.
Sonic Rainboom, it was your number 4. And I mean... And I do sort of think some of the criticisms I gave before, and that's why, like, back in the day, I was thinking, okay, maybe, I'll stick with May the Best Pit win all the way across. I just don't think it's ever been truly topped, but... Alright, let's face it, Sonic Rainboom is the Rainbow Dash episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, everything about Rainbow Dash, everything there is to appreciate goes into this episode, just, how...
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually, like... What I like about Rainbow Dash, one of the many things I like about Rainbow Dash, is how, what she has, it's portrayed as actual narcissism, not, hey, I'm a one-dimensional character who, thinks they're the best and answers every question with I'm the best and gets up and eats best flakes and goes to bed reading a story about how I'm the best.
Oh, Rift Flakes. No.
I said best flakes. But yeah, actual narcissism, like thinking that you should be considered that awesome in theory, but in practice, not actually being so used to it always working out that way, being worried whether it's going to work out that way or not. And like this episode is almost a pitch-perfect demonstration of that when, Rainbow Dash steps up to the big leagues and, even maybe tries to go a little too big herself. Like, thinks she has to incorporate the biggest trick of all time when... she could probably have changed the routine, but, like, no, I need to do the Sonic Rainboom, and when she can't, or when she thinks she can't, it's like, oh, that's hopeless, like, and just, the difference between, the training mindset and the, heat of the moment mindset, it's like, because, heck, it's implied, like, self-doubt, or, heck, even when you're training, like, it's not so cut and dry, like, can be, okay, no, I'm focusing, I really want to do this, but, like, even the subtlest, like, okay, well, what about this? So just, okay, I've got to maybe make sure, like, that can actually hold you back a bit, and just, like, how sometimes the chips are down, you don't know, sometimes it is a sink or swim situation, and you go for it with everything, and sometimes, competition can push you over the edge. I think that's happened to a lot of people, including me. Pulling off something I wasn't able to always do otherwise. But
I see a lot of you in this episode, actually, also. So nice.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that, okay, for as much as it becoming about Rarity might seem like sort of an odd mixture, like, what's that? You got Rarity in my Rainbow Dash, you got Rainbow Dash in my Rarity. Bronies are going to make so many dirty jokes out of that. it is kind of a good story for Rarity too. Just how, okay, once like season 1, she's the only one that I think we really had to kind of be sold on her being the element she was, in my opinion anyway. Like people say, oh, Applejack and Rainbow Dash should have switched. I don't see it, or at least I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with that either.
Rarity, like how, okay, she's generous because for as vain as she is kind of tuned into other people's needs, and like, okay, yeah, wanting to enjoy something yourself is not necessarily different from, or is not necessarily a contradiction to wanting other people to enjoy something. Like, okay, if you think you've got something that great to bring to the table, sometimes, okay, bringing it to other people can be what makes you happy. And yeah, Rarity, like why she is the element of generosity, because she's tuned into what people could use a lot of the time, and how she is able to see that, okay, Rainbow Dash could really use some support right about now, but then, like, I really like that the episode actually shows us both sides here, because, again, not mutually exclusive, like Rarity getting an opportunity to shine herself, like, okay, she was, like, this all started with her trying to do a really nice, generous thing, but, okay, she gets carried away by something else, and I mean, heck, none of us are totally immune to that, and Rarity in particular not so much, so I mean, she wasn't trying to, like, take the spotlight away from Rainbow Dash or hurt anybody, she just was having fun with what she got, so...
Yeah, that's,
It's really great, the fly too close to the sun bit, even though that makes no sense, because it gets colder the higher up you go, but... Which...
Freezing your wings off then.
But, yeah, but still, it's, the Icarus reference, so, okay, full pass as far as I'm concerned.
Yay!
So, and I mean, it does sort of, like, it does sort of, just get into sort of a, not even by the numbers story, just sort of a, I don't even want to say rambling story, just sort of like, okay, just slice of life, I'll say. It just falls into, a sort of, going through the day, but I mean, I guess even that sort of does have, like, an offbeat, or, like, sort of a drunken fist type appeal, like, okay, Rainbow's all scared about this competition, but life goes on, like, stuff happens leading up to it. You can take, there can still be moments where you're showing your friends the Rainbow Factory, and one of them doesn't realize that you're not actually supposed to taste the rainbow. That was a great joke. Rainbows aren't actually known for their taste.
No, they're spicy, it seems.
Like Skittles, are you sure that's what you wanted?
Spicy Skittles, get on it. Just kidding.
What else? The thing with the bullies, and just, it actually captures the competitive mindset so well. Just like how Rainbow Dash, during her routine, she's messing up stuff. We've seen her get right before. And then, but yeah, how when the chips are down, like when, okay, there's no time to even be worried about whether you can do it. It's just like, okay, do or die. I need to save Rarity.
Yes,
it's like, okay, she ends up showing herself what she can really do. And I mean, and it's not like a semantically perfect moral. I mean, it's kind of like how life is sometimes. There's such a thing as do or die situations. And, okay, but, it's, at the same time, it is sort of an optimistic spin on that. Like, yeah, everyone has something in them. Everybody, you never know what you can do until you go for it full tilt. And Rainbow Dash just trying to suck it up and press on, even through, like, I mean, she gets really scared, but she is still kind of brave in her own way. Like, she keeps pressing on through mistakes that she knows count for something. Like, she even sends a cloud flying at Princess Celestia, and she keeps going. And then, so, I mean, just, she's been put through so much, and, ends up in such a well-won moment of triumph, just like doing the dive to save Rarity, that, the shot when she lands and she's blinking back a tear, it doesn't come across as overkill. No. I mean, and for all its kind of moments where it could come off a little jumbled, or it actually draws that much power that I'm able to say, okay, that is as high a height as we've ever climbed with Rainbow Dash.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, shucks. All right, your turn.
Well, my number one was 1, 2, 3 Street.
Okay.
So, and we already talked about it, but I guess like I see myself in Rainbow Dash's shoes, or how to say that, because you know I have this photographic memory, and like I have trouble with actually learning stuff with. I need to do something while I'm learning. Actually, sometimes like I can draw and then listen to readouts for my the bachelor's, and being like, okay, then I have learned this, I know what to say and stuff like that, and then I have to redo it because of my dyslexia and stuff like that. So I can really like see all of these different kinds of learning methods is a good way. The cards and even the puppet show, I see like some people that would learn from, you know, visual effects and stuff like that.
Like that's kind of me.
Yeah, and her like flying over the stuff. Now I do feel like it was a little bit too much to give her A in the end, but
actually, even
that's the only thing.
Yeah, like I thought about that, and I think like even that could have maybe worked if they'd shown us like, okay, Rainbow Dash getting it that well, like like Rainbow Dash learning it could come off as one of the weaker parts just because it's like Twilight turns on the light and then she has it. Like we don't it's not like a learning process where she has to do it maybe a bunch of times and it sinks in until she can say it like, okay, everything. It's just like she has to do it once and then she's totally got it, which that's almost like genius level intellect. And I mean, as much as I don't like the excuse of, okay, well, they only have so much time, it's like, well, okay, like editing's the heart of writing. When you turn in a screenplay that's too jumbled, doesn't make any sense, they don't say, oh, it's okay, you would have got it if the movie were longer. They say, go back and do it again. But, like, even though I don't think that's an excuse, I can accept when it's, like, well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, if they fit all this other stuff in and they did really well and they weren't able to do as well on this last thing because they only had so much time on it, like, okay, well, that doesn't make the last thing better, but that does seem like it'd be the explanation that, like, they didn't have time for a whole montage of just Rainbow Dash getting it.
Yeah, and I think, like, my really favorite part in this is Applejack. She's like, oh, you haven't been studying, then you're Upper Creek, and I'm just like, yeah, that's me, like, telling, like, everybody, like, in my class, or how to say that, if you don't study, you're going to be lost, like, and I have to go back and redo it, because, again, my dyslexia, so it's like, yeah, you have to go up the creek, like, or how to say that, do a lot of work, a lot of times, so, yeah. I really do also believe in that method of learning, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's, yeah, maybe they just decide that, like, okay, it still takes Rainbow Dash some time, then...
Yeah.
Maybe.
And maybe if she had time to fly over it a couple of times, I would have believed more that she would have gotten an A. But it's still my favorite because I really do like the moral, and I like the 80s reference, and I like all of this like small stuff, even Rarity in her outfit for the, you know, before and after with the Wonderbolts outfits. I was just like, okay, that's pretty clever, and yeah, what the friends are willing to do to help her to learn. It's also mirroring my family a lot, because like my mom is helping me a lot with my homework, and yeah, my other friend is helping me with my spelling and stuff like that. That's so sweet.
Episodes that speak to you. So, I mean, I don't hate to love something. This is Testing 1 2 3 is a great episode. But okay, well, looks like that's all of them, and all right. Rainbow Dash is awesome.
Because everything is awesome.